What up, cyber heroes? Welcome back to the podcast, and you are in for a treat today. Today, I have Shamar Wright with me, who's making some huge waves in cybersecurity. You don't want to miss this. And guess what? He's only 23 years old. Hey, cyber heroes, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Boyd Clues, an internationally recognized cybersecurity expert, and I help IT guys upgrade their jobs into a six-figure cybersecurity career. Let's jump right in. I'm excited to have Mr. Wright here with me. And believe it or not, man, you are the first person that I've actually brought onto the podcast. So people that are getting to watch this finally get to hear another voice outside of me. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
All right, that's awesome. I feel special. All right. Hey everybody, my name's Shamar. I am a cybersecurity professional. I work in the DevSecOps realm, PCI realm. Before coming to this realm, I was just mainly IT, help desk, password resets, didn't really do much. But because of this program, I was able to make the transition into cybersecurity. So I'm super thankful and super honored to be here on this podcast with you.
Hey, man, that's what I like to hear. I appreciate that. So for the listeners out there, I invited Shamar on because he has a unique story that I think everyone should hear. Because what he's doing right now, I think is so freaking amazing. And it's just good to get other perspectives and introduce you guys to some of the opportunities that are available. So guys, if you've watched me for any number of time, and not just ads, I'm passionate about increasing diversity in tech and cybersecurity and helping people upgrade their jobs into this cybersecurity space because it's underserved. And so I think that it's important that we share our journeys. I talk about how I used to be on the help desk, how I used to work overnights. I was actually showing one of my coworkers today pictures of me from 2014 at the office working at night. I was working weekends and I had all three of my kids in the office with me. It was my weekend to be dad and I didn't have a babysitter. So I was just like, I'm not going to not be with my kids. We're going to go to the office together. So they're running around playing. I'm trying to get my work done. But that was my life. So enough about me. Tell me what life looked like before you made this transition in cybersecurity from a career standpoint. What were you doing?
Yeah, so before where I am now, daily life was going to school, attending class, student loans, racking those up, just trying to figure out what my life was going to be like in the future. Because I'm in college, trying to go and get into adulting, figuring out what my life is going to be, making that independence, just figuring out what my goals were going to be and working on those. I was on the help desk tier 1, just hoping that, hey, let me just do good enough work so that way I can get promoted and then maybe get to tier 2 and then maybe after a couple of years get to tier 3 and then get a couple certifications, figure out what I'm going to do after that. So there was just a lot of uncertainty where I was at. There was a lot of comfort where I was at as well because I thought, hey, this is the opportunity. Let me just do my best that I can to get to that next level. But I just never knew when that next level was coming for me. So that was mostly what my life was, just tier 1, some contracts, and then just bunch of help desk contracts that I was doing.
Okay. So what had you looking to make a change from that?
Mostly it was mostly job security for me. I felt that a lot of times, companies, they would have a certain need at a certain time. And in the help desk industry, there's a lot of turnover. There's seasonal needs for employees. And actually, before joining your program, I had gotten laid off from a job.
Really?
Yeah, they were trying to expand, but due to COVID concerns, things like that, they decided that things weren't panning out. So I was laid off and I was jobless for maybe 2 to 3 months. So there was just a lot of uncertainty, and I just really wanted to have that job security.
Yeah, I understand security means a lot. So it's funny you mentioned something that it's so funny that oftentimes when I talk to people that are in IT, they have this concept where I'm going to start in the help desk, and then in a few years I'm going to get to the next year. Then a few years I'll get to the
Yep.
next year. Then I'm going to get some sort of for certification. Then I'll move to the next year. Like, where did that idea even come from, man?
It just came from fellow students when I was in college. I was just going to college because that's the next step. You know, I guess you could say society has laid out a plan for how our life should go. And I was going to high school, figuring out what I want to do next. Okay, I go to college. Hey, I like computers. I like how they work. Let me do some IT. And then, fellow students, we talk about, okay, what should we do? How do we get to that next step? So it was mostly just peers in school just saying, hey, if you want to do cybersecurity, get your CompTIA Security Plus certification, and then move from there and get the next certification. So that was the idea in my head that, hey, maybe I just need to study a few things, learn all that I can, get the certifications, and that will qualify me to get to where I need to be.
Gotcha. So did you end up getting any of those certifications?
No, the only test that I took was the CompTIA A plus, and that was just core one. That wasn't even core two. Yeah, I didn't even finish it.
Man, I remember
Uh,
my days and the CompTIA certifications. I got the trifecta, man. A plus, network plus, security plus, because I was told the same
wow.
thing. I was told the same thing. It's like I started working support myself and asking the guys that are in the higher level positions, hey man, how you get there? Hey man, this is what you need to do. You get to get your CompTIA A plus, get your network plus, get your security plus, and then about 7 or 8 years. Like, bro, that is a long time. That is a long time. So what
Right.
was like the light bulb moment you had when, let's just say, tell me what was that light bulb moment when you realized that those certifications were not the path to get you to that next level?
I think what did it for me was um, after getting laid off from that job, I interviewed at other positions, and I told them I was working on my A plus, I was in college. And one of the things that really shocked me was when they were interviewing me, they were asking me questions related to the CompTIA A plus. So they were asking me, about networking. They were asking me about hardware, software, and for some reason, I couldn't answer those questions after I took that test. It's like after I took that test, I forgot most of what I studied for because I
Mhm.
wasn't really applying in my everyday life. So I was thinking to myself, if I'm studying for all these certifications, I'm not using them or I'm not applying them, then, it's not really doing me any good. And I started to think, is the certification actually going to get me the job? So I think that's kind of what shocked me, and it kind of gave me a little bit of, it kind of made me feel hopeless, to say the least, because I was laid off. I had to figure things out, and then this wasn't working. What everybody else was saying was going to work for them, didn't work for me. So I think that's where I realized that, hey, it's not about the certifications. It's about what you know, and are you going to retain it? Are you going to apply it every day and use it in a way that it's going to help the business?
Yep. Yeah, I completely understand how you feel, man. When I try to explain that concept to people, it's like for some reason they think that I'm the bad guy and I'm a liar. When I asked them, like, just because you have a certification, that doesn't mean you can do the work. And most companies that train you to get a certification, they're only teaching you to answer questions. They're not teaching you how to think. If you want to be successful, you need to know how to think. Well, no, that's not true. You just need the certification. I'm like, okay. And then I hit him with the Spanish thing. Like, we live in the United States, most of us. And in order to graduate high school, you got to take a foreign language, right? It's like, okay, I'm sure you
Yep.
passed it because you graduated. Can you speak that language that you learned and passed the class on? And most of them are like, no. It's like, that's the same principle. Just
I don't
because
even
you
remember
got
my
it.
Spanish class.
You know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like I got Spanish was actually one of the classes I actually did very well in, but I still can't speak Spanish. I can't. It was applied knowledge for a specific purpose of passing an exam, which does not translate over into the real world. And once more people will start making that connection, I think that we'll see actually better talent in the tech field. Because right now, I've consulted at some of the top companies in the world, and I see a lot of certified guys. And I'm just going to be honest, like they suck at their craft. They suck at it. Because number one, they've gone to these boot camps or they've gone to these universities that have taught them theoretical information because the people that are teaching them are not practitioners. They're just people that read books and said, this is what you should do because this is what the vendor says. But the vendor doesn't even know what their solution looks like in the real world. And so it just creates a mess, a mess. So what
Yeah,
got
I
you
agree.
out of that hopeless point of feeling like, I don't have a job right now and the certification isn't working for me?
So at this point, I was just doing, my side hustles, fixing up computers, repairing them, selling them, just to make ends meet for a little bit. And September of last year, that's when I came across your reverse application system, and that was some limited time program that you're doing for helping people, to revamp their visibility on LinkedIn, get them more visibility to recruiters, things like that. So I took that program, then a recruiter reached out to me, and I used some of those tips that I learned from that program to land one. This is I guess you could say it's more of a systems administrator role.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the first starting point to where I was off of tier one. So I wasn't just doing password resets, but I was also helping out with patching, migrations, helping out with, deploying applications, things like that. So that was when I realized that, hey, it's not about just getting the certification. It's not about just passing an exam just to get a badge and say that, hey, I'm proficient at this. It's about what you can present and are you a subject matter expert at what you say that you know?
Yeah.
So that's when I first realized that it's not just about certification. So that really made me realize that.
That's nice, man. So you went from unemployed to being a system administrator. So it was like a step up. And you didn't have to get
Right.
any more well, you have to get any certifications to make that happen, right?
Yep, exactly.
Wow. Wow. So that right there is just like another boing. Like we should have called this episode like Mythbusters or something. Because there's just some people that just don't believe that it's possible to land these roles without some type of certification or something like that. It's like, oh, you gotta have it. And my response is generally, yes, you do, because you don't have skills. But don't tell me what I
Right.
need, you know?
Right, exactly. And one thing that I want to also throw in there as well is we live in a time where companies use different software. Some companies use Microsoft, some use AWS, some are in Google, some use, CyberArk. For
Mm-hmm.
you to get a certification for every single piece of technology that's out there is just impossible.
Yes.
So it is impossible. So what it's about is knowing what the role is, what your um, responsibility is, and do you have what it takes to carry that out for the company? And I think once you understand the fundamental objective of what the business is trying to do, and are you a problem solver? Are you a go-getter? And I think those are kind of the most important attributes that you need to be successful, not just getting all the certifications.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with you, man. Because like when I was doing my research, when I started the training academy, I realized, man, there was over 85 different certifications. And everybody is
Wow.
promising if you get this certification, you'll get this job. But I'm like, all the certification is going to do is give you an opportunity to talk about your experience, right? It's a conversation starter. But if you can't converse about your skill set, that certification does nothing for you. That's why I tell people, like, I don't recommend certifications. I recommend training because you can go take the CompTIA A plus or Network Plus training all day, but you can actually gain value from that will actually land you a high paying job. But the certification is not going to do it. It's just a conversation starter. And so the people fall short on that. Like, I just want people to get that, man. And when I try to explain that to people, it's like, he's a scam artist. You got to have a certification. I'm like, bruh, first of all, like, define what a scam is. Define what a scam is. I've created so many programs and courses to try to open people's eyes up. The reverse application system, which is trademarked, by the way. So anybody out there listening, you can't steal my stuff. It's trademarked. Shout out to my attorney, Natalie. She is the bomb. But that thing right there landed so many people interviews because the goal of the reverse application system is to help people attract jobs automatically so they can get interviews. When you ran through that system administrator job that you got, did you apply for it or they find you?
Yeah, they reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yep,
Yep, yep.
yep. Very
Yeah,
nice.
and also there were some PCI jobs that PCI recruiters that reached out to me as well. However, at the time, I didn't have the full program that you offer. The CAS program, I didn't join that at the time, just because, finance and things like that. I later joined in January of this year, but at the time, that's when I didn't have the skill set yet. So after that, I joined your normal program, and then that's where I got all the skills, the authority mindset, everything that you usually pass on to. Yeah, that's important. That's number one. Everybody, if you're listening, that is number one. If you don't have that, don't even try it.
So let's talk about what that
Yeah.
is because like what most people don't realize is the reason why what I do, I don't know if you see this, like there's going to be trolls on this post. There's the people try to troll me everywhere because what we're doing is so unique. But there are no other IT companies, cybersecurity training companies that do what we do because immediately when somebody signs up for training, they're immediately engulfed into all this technical stuff. We don't do that. We go straight into the mindset because it doesn't matter how much technical training you have. If you don't believe that you can do this, if you have messed up thought patterns, you're never going to be successful. You can only be as successful as your mind will allow you to be. So, talk to me about what the authority mindset did for you.
Right. So before taking the program, I was horrible at interviews. I'm an introvert, so not really good with speaking. And I really had a hard time just explaining concepts in an interview just because, I thought I was pigeonholed to this tier one help desk. I'm just this tier one help desk guy, right? So what the authority mindset is, it's you thinking yourself as an expert in what you do. Tier one, every day you're resetting passwords, you're doing some patching, you're removing viruses. You're also advising to those that are calling you on the phone, hey, I have this issue. What is your advice on this? Or what should I do? I got this phishing email. What should I do? And you have to give that answer. So you are already an advisor for most of the people in your company, and you are
Mm-hmm.
you are that subject matter expert that people go to. So it's just about changing the narrative. That's what it did for me. It changed the narrative and made me go from thinking of myself as, oh, I'm just a little minnow in this big IT world to I'm actually an advisor in my company and I can drive good decisions, um, for other departments, other people. So that is what really changed the narrative for me. And I was able to take that approach in, applications, interviews, letting them know, okay, this is the problem we're having, Shamar. What are you going to do to solve that? So that's what the authority mindset did for me.
Man, that is so powerful right there, man. I wish most people could catch that. Like, truth be told, man, the authority mindset by itself could transform so many lives without me having to train them on anything. If people would just realize what they've already done and stop seeing themselves, like you said, as that little minnow and realize that they've done some impactful things, they can make this transition. Now, of course, the additional skills and things that we teach inside the academy help, but it's there, but it just has to start here. It just has to start here. So, man, that's really good
Agreed.
stuff. So let's talk about this transition after the sysadmin role. So what happened next?
So after the system admin role, I was still working that role. It was pretty what, it was pretty good. Had a good work-life balance with them. And then in January of this year, that's when I decided, hey, I'm gonna go full-fledged into the CAS program, learn the skill sets, learn the authority mindset, learn about PCI, and I went through it pretty quickly. I will say that. I'll be honest and say I went through it pretty quickly because I had that whole, I just need to get done and get certified and get out of there. So I went through it, probably finished maybe in March, but at that point I still was having trouble finding a job just because I sped through it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was completely on me. But after June, that's when I dove back into the authority mindset again because that was something I needed to spend more time on. Um, and your brother, by the way, Will Cluis, amazing. Appreciate you. Shout out. So, we spent some time going through that, addressing what are those negative connotations that I'm keeping in my mind that is preventing me to go forward. And by spending more time on that, I was able to go into interviews, with a clear conscience, knowing exactly what I was going to talk about, you know, no uncertainties or of anything that I was going to, present to them. I was able to present the PCI DSS, what the requirements and how does it apply to them. What are we going to do to resolve the issues that are going on within your business? So I was able to think of myself as an advisor, and going through these interviews, it was just more like a conversation. It wasn't even trying to prove myself or prove what I know. It was just more of a conversation about how we can resolve the issues that are going on.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
When you're in the interview and it turns into the conversation like that, that's when you know. That's when you know it's good. And shout
Yes,
out to
sir.
Will, the authority, the creator of the authority mindset. We developed that bad boy. I didn't realize it was something that I carried throughout my career because I had to develop that, man. I had to develop the authority mindset, which was sort of my alter ego because I had a chip on my shoulder because I'm the only person in my family that does not have a college degree. And so I'm in these
Wow.
high level positions, and these people are paying me a whole lot of money, and I don't feel like I'm worthy to be there, right? I don't deserve a seat at the table. And so I had to create this alter ego. It's like, you know what? I am the guy for the job. I can do this. I have done this. And that really started when the offer came to me from American Airlines to become the senior security architect. I almost talked myself out of the job, but I had to put on
Wow.
the authority mindset. And I was like, I got this. I can do this. I've done this before. I'm just doing it again at a bigger company. And so that is what started all that. And my brother and Tiana definitely helped me through that process because, like, mentally here, I was exactly where you were, man. And that's why everything that I teach you guys inside of the program, it's like, man, it feels like, how did he know this? Because I experienced it all. I'm only teaching you guys what I've done to overcome the limitations that I had. And so I'm just glad that you guys are getting value from it. It's really, really important. So you made this transition, right? Put on the authority mindset, rock the interview.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me about the offer. When it came to the actual job offer, well, no, forget that. So what happened? Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me continue from where that was. So after, really honing in on that authority mindset, I went through some more interviews. As a matter of fact, the recruiter was reaching out to me during that time when I was really going through that authority mindset. And they said they need somebody that with PCI experience that can help them because they had some gaps from last year and they need some help with improving their PCI program. So I said, you know what, let's do it. And I went through, spoke to the senior DevSecOps engineer, and we had an interview. And basically, he said, "This is our problem. This is my problem, and we're just having an issue with compliance. We don't have enough headcount. to really hone in and focus on this project. So going through that interview, I was just explaining to him what my experience was, letting him know that these are, I worked in PCI, worked in consulting, and also just letting them know that I can provide solutions to them as well. So I think that was one thing that they really appreciated, just the being able to advise. And now in this role, what I do is, we identify what's going on, what's causing issues. And I was saying, hey, why don't we remove that? Or why don't we implement this instead? So that way it causes less pain points for us. So it's kind of the same thing as doing the password resets, when I was on tier one
Hmm.
help desk, but I'm just basically giving suggestions, I'm giving ideas. So that's the bridge between being a senior leader in your company versus tier one. It's basically the same thing, but you have a little bit more authority. You have more say in the matter, and you can provide those solutions. And you have others that will listen to you that are high up as well. So I really appreciate being in this role, and I really appreciate just going through the program. It's really helped me get to that level to where I can speak to senior executives comfortably, just have conversations with them, and they're actually listening to what I'm saying, because in IT, the number one skill you have to have is problem solving. And that's
Hmm.
most of what I'm doing in this role. So that the authority mindset was the only gap that I had, and that's what brought me to this senior leadership position.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. So I want to highlight this because I'm pretty sure it probably glossed over the listeners' ears. You're getting
Yeah.
paid to advise, to solve problems. So I want you guys to know this. He ain't out here tinkering with systems and servers. He's not doing that. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're at
Nope.
this level, you get paid to talk and you get paid to solve problems. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So, yeah, man. So what happened next? Continue. This is good, by the way. This is really good.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of the story. I mean, that's where I'm at present day right now. We're continuing working on our compliance certification. We have the audit coming up in March. So just continue to have walkthroughs, meetings with just different departments in the company, and just looking at where our gaps are, where our pain points are, and just recommending solutions. Um, don't have to do password resets. I just point the finger and say, go here, go there. So I really appreciate, and it's a real honor to be in this type of position. And it's just happened so quickly in just the span of just over a year. Just over a
Hmm.
year. My life has changed so fast. It's been very, very exciting. And I owe all of my success to the Baxter Lewis team. It's been a great journey, and um, props to you, props to Will. It's been a huge change in such a little bit of time.
So, man, I appreciate that. At the end of the day, we can provide all the resources in the world, but if you don't take them on, then they're not going to be successful anyway. So, my hat's off for you for taking action. So, the last thing that I want to talk about before we get out of here is you said that life changed a lot. So, what's changed for you, man? Let's talk about those changes.
Yeah, right now I'm on the road to becoming debt free. I'm really focusing on that.
Hey,
Yeah, getting up my student loans out the way. I'm super excited about that. Um,
how old
you
are
know,
you?
I'm gonna be 24 on Sunday.
Youngster on Sunday? Youngster.
Yes,
Hey,
on
man,
Sunday.
happy early birthday to you, man.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you. Yes, so that's where I'm at right now. No more uncertainties. At this age from, 18 to 24, we're trying to figure out what are we going to be doing? What's my identity? What do I want the rest of my life to look like? And that was a big uncertainty of mine last year before coming to this program. And I feel that now, you know, what I do every day, what I wake up every day to do has a lot more meaning. and a lot more impact. And I just appreciate that. And it's such an honor just to be sitting at the seat of, CTOs, executives, directors, vice presidents. So it's just amazing. And, I'm able to help my family out, help my friends out. And I also want to be able to mentor those that are in my current situation and let them know what my experiences was and how it's possible for them as well. So if you're in that boat where you feel you're on, starting IT and you don't feel like you can get to where you want to be in that short amount of time, I want you to know that it is very possible. And I'm living proof that that is, it's occurred for me. And you just have to get past, the negativity and just know who you are, what you want to be. And all those, once you have all those blockers removed, you're able to get to where you need to be.
Man, that is so powerful. That's so powerful. And I got to say this, man, you are like literally the epitome of why I did what I did when I quit my job. So like I quit my job as a QSA senior consultant making $200,000 a year to start this because when I was your age, I didn't have the direction, man. And I was at the help desk working while my car was outside getting repoed. I couldn't imagine, getting paid six figures and above to do this thing that I didn't even know about. And like to this day, most people that work in IT or trying to get in IT have no idea about payment security and PCI. And for you to figure this out at the age that you're at right now, oh my goodness, man. I wish I had like a time machine where I could like snatch this down, let's go back, and then I would start over and I would learn this stuff around your age. I think I would be a lot better off. But dude, you are set for life. And you're not even 25 yet, man. Dude. Hey, how does that
Yeah,
feel,
man.
man?
I mean, man, I don't want to get emotional on this call right now, but um, I mean, like I said, at this stage in life, there's a lot of uncertainty for where your life is gonna go. You see what your family does for you, the sacrifices they make, and also what others are going through, and you feel like, man, maybe this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do to make it work, and maybe I have to struggle for a little bit to get to where I want to be. And the fact that you you actually put away your own career to help other people like myself, and even those that are even older, that think that maybe, man, maybe I'm too old to get to cybersecurity. Maybe it's too late. So the fact that you were the one to show us what is possible and make it a reality, I mean, that I'm gonna say I'm gonna be KD and say you're the real MVP, man. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Man, that's what I do it for. So like real talk,
yeah,
when I started this thing, and pandemic happened, so we took it online, and then the first round of people started landing jobs. Man, I used to just stare at the computer and just cry. I really would. I was
wow,
like, man, this is because it wasn't that people were landing jobs, it was the stories behind that, man. Like people's lives were changed, incomes were doubled, triple, quadrupled, and that was allowing people to get out of debt. That was restoring families because like when you don't have any money, there's a strain, man. There is a
yeah,
strain. And
hmm,
so just seeing how this little idea that I came up with one day because I couldn't find people to hire, how it's transformed so many lives blew me away. So like outside of wanting people to not struggle, when I was a QSA, I had two open roles. I was paying $150,000 for, and I literally could not find anybody qualified to take the roles, and I was pissed off. So I was like, if they don't exist, I'm going to train them. And then there's the lack of diversity in cybersecurity. I go to these conferences and I'm speaking, and it's like one or two black people there, man. So I was like, I'm gonna change this single handedly if I have to, if I have to. And so it's been a wild ride, but I mean, it's people like you that keep me going, because there's a lot of hate that comes with doing what I'm doing. Because like I'm telling people, you don't need to go out and get a college degree. You don't need to go out and get a certification. You don't. I can show you a different way. And it's just hard for some people to understand. And therefore, it attracts a lot of hate. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Yo,
Yeah.
that's all
Well,
I
keep doing what you're doing. Don't forget the haters, you know.
got.
You're still changing lives despite of it. You know, there's gonna be people that are gonna say yes, and there's gonna be some people that are gonna say no. And same goes, you know, that same for me. Um, with that's what the authority mindset teaches. You know, sometimes there's gonna be adversity, but you just gotta push through. So if you feel like it's not possible, then that's your own mind telling you that it's not possible for yourself. And um, you have to push past that. And that is what this program teaches you. So the very thing that you're facing or the very adversity that you're presenting is the same solution that's in this program, which is the authority mindset, which helps you get over those hurdles of it not being possible or this is a scam. But I found out for myself that it is definitely not a scam.
That's
It is the
funny people
complete
say
opposite.
that. That's funny people say that. I'm like, bro, like, how did you even do an inch of research? So I'll tell people that call me a scam. I'm like, if that's your conclusion without doing any research, you're not cut out to be a cybersecurity professional anyway, because what you're doing is you're making a judgment without evidence. And as a
Right.
cybersecurity professional, we make action evidence based decisions, which means you're not a good fit for this anyway. So, yes, call me a scam artist. I wouldn't allow you in the academy anyway because you're not a good fit.
That's a good point.
That's why when I first started this thing, I used to get mad and try to prove, no, I've been on this TV show. I spoke on this age, do that. Now I just put crying, laughing emojis. Ha 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 ha. It's funny to me. It's funny to me.
Right,
I'm
right.
so far removed from it's ridiculous. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you spending some time with me. I believe that the people that are listening to this are just going to get so much value from it because, like your sincerity, your story, it is amazing. And the cool thing about this is, dude, this is just the freaking beginning. The
Yes,
beginning,
sir. It
man.
is.
So I wish you much success, much continued success.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Boyd. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
yes, sir.